Honghuang. From the Descendants of the Demon Ancestor to the First Demon in Ancient and Modern Times. Introduction. Li Che traveled through the Honghuang world and obtained the inheritance of the Demon Ancestor Luo Throat, starting an endless career as a villain. How did the dream space provide hope to the lower-level creatures? How did the infamous main temple, which everyone shouted at, come into being? How does the protagonist shape success? What is the truth about the reborn? Li Che, who transformed into a free-spirited demon, said, "That's right, everything was done by me. I endorse the villain. QQ group number 568990592, everyone can add. QQ group number. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Create a QQ group for book enthusiasts to discuss the plot of the book, and all book enthusiasts can join. Group ID 568990592. Chapter 1. Descendants of the Demon Ancestor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under Kunlun Mountains countless creatures gather together. There are innate gods born from heaven and earth, strange monsters, divine beasts filled with sacred energy, auspicious beasts, the three pure heavenly sovereigns, who possess the ultimate divine power in the wilderness, have consecutively demonstrated their teachings and become holy. Their holy power is immense in all directions, and all the tribes in the wilderness are in awe. After Sanqing Tianzuan preached, the imperial edict was issued to the world, intending to open the mountain gate wide, recruit disciples, and spread the teachings to all sentient beings. Therefore, the heavenly pride of all races rushed from all directions to see the majesty of the sage. A sage, whose essence is in harmony with the heavenly way, observes the cause and effect of 3 lifetimes, wields boundless mysteries, is precious yet limitless, revered yet immeasurable, possesses unimaginable great magical power, towering to the extreme, and powerful and boundless. At the foot of Yujing Mountain, where Sanqing Heavenly Sovereign resided, the eyes of the heavenly pride of various ethnic groups were hot, and their emotions fluctuated and surged, making it difficult for them to calm down for a long time. If one can become a disciple of Sanqing Heavenly Master, their future is limitless. Even if one cannot enter the Dharma eye of Sanqing Heavenly Master, being able to witness the sage's demeanor with one's own eyes is not a waste of this trip. In the crowd, a slightly frail figure looked up at the sky, at the jade capital mountain that had penetrated into the sky, and like many other creatures present, their emotions surged like waves, filled with emotions. The sky is a white jade capital, with 12 floors and 5 cities. Immortals caress my roof, and my hair grows and grows. Li Che sighed softly and said, "Here, I see the way." In his eyes, Yujing Mountain was no longer a mountain, but a majestic and supreme deity. Amidst the misty clouds and mist, it revealed endless mysteries, interpreting the mysteries of all paths. Standing on the ancestral lineage of Kunlun, located in the core of East Kunlun, favored by the heavenly Tao, and also known as the Hongjun Tao ancestor, the 3 Qing heavenly sovereigns have successively resided here. Yujing Mountain is already a nearby place. Not entering the mountains, just observing from afar, brings people various extraordinary insights. When a Taoist friend sees a mountain, he immediately realizes it, which truly makes the poor Taoist envious. The sudden sound of words rang out, and Li Che turned around to see a Taoist in white with a sword on his back smiling slightly at him. White clothes surpass snow, with a natural sense of pride. Although there is a strong and fierce color between the eyebrows, it gives people a feeling of being bathed in spring breeze. He is truly a peerless sword immortal. Li Che secretly praised himself, but on the surface, he remained indifferent and said, "Thank you for your false praise, Taoist friend. Do you know what you are afraid of?" The Taoist in white chuckled and said, "I am a poor Taoist. I am in the Xianxia cave on Yuchuan Mountain, with a jade tripod." Jade tripod. Li Che's sword eyebrows slightly raised, and he was too familiar with the name Yuding. The 12 golden immortals of Yushu under the sect of Yuanshi Tianzuan have a place for the jade ding immortal. Putting aside the strange feeling in his heart, Li Che quickly replied, "Poor human race, Li Che, I have seen a friend of the Jade Cauldron Taoist." Human race. This time it was Yuding Zhenren's turn to be stunned. Although Yuding Immortal also has a human appearance, he is not human after all, but an innate deity transformed from a tooth of the real Panga great god. The reason why he appears human in appearance is simply the innate Tao body shaped by the heavenly Tao at the time of his birth. It was the first time he had seen an acquired human race like Li Che. The first time he saw the human race after tomorrow, Yuding Zhenren couldn't help but curiously looked at Li Che, but he didn't have any prejudice against the human race like other races, just pure curiosity. Yuding Zhenren could clearly see that although Li Che had the same appearance as him, they were fundamentally different. The human body is very different from the innate Tao body that contains infinite mysteries. The human body is exactly the same as the innate Tao body in appearance, but it does not mean that the human body is equal to the innate Tao body, which is a huge mistake. Do you also come here to join the sect of Sanqing Heavenly Master? Yuding Zhenren spoke confidently. Li Che, as a member of the human race, was able to cross countless impoverished mountains and rivers to come here, which truly amazed the Jade Ding Immortal. There must be an unknown secret hidden in him. But he suppressed his curiosity and didn't ask much. It is impolite to ask someone's secret when meeting for the first time. The friendship between gentlemen is as light as water. Don't ask what shouldn't be asked, and don't do what shouldn't be done. This is the realization of Yuding Immortal as a sword immortal. The three pure heavenly sovereigns' teachings have become holy, with endless visions that have alarmed the entire wilderness. I also want to come here to try my luck. If I can enter the eyes of the heavenly sovereign, it will be a great opportunity. Upon hearing these words, Yuding also showed a hopeful expression on his face. Saint, there is no supreme divine power. Even if we can only learn a little, it will be enough for us to benefit for a lifetime. Looking at Li Che quite seriously, he asked, "Three pure heavenly sovereigns, each with their own strengths. Which heavenly sovereign would you like to join, Taoist friend?" Perhaps it was fate. From the first moment he saw Li Che, he regarded her as a friend and thought she was a good person to make friends with. Therefore, he didn't have any taboos and directly asked Li Che about his intention to become a teacher. Coincidentally, Li Che also felt the same way. Since arriving in the Honghuang, due to his human background, Li Che has been despised by the creatures of the Honghuang. He is respected and has equal relationships with others, and the Jade Ding Immortal is the first one. The Jade Ding Immortal treated each other with sincerity, and Li Che naturally joined in with Li. He said calmly, "I have a dull aptitude and dare not expect to become the personal transmission of the Sanqing Heavenly Lord. I only hope to stay by the side of the Sanqing Heavenly Lord to learn the Tao and Dharma, and then I am satisfied." After a slight pause, he continued. "I have heard that the personalities of the three pure heavenly sovereigns are vastly different. The moral heavenly sovereigns are inactive, while the primordial heavenly sovereigns are arrogant. Only the Lingbao heavenly sovereigns have teachings and are of no kind. Therefore, I intend to worship the Lingbao heavenly sovereigns." He had already thought before coming that the moral heavenly sovereign and the primordial heavenly sovereign may not necessarily value his qualifications as a descendant of the human race, but the Lingbao heavenly sovereign can be considered as a perfect match. Lingbao heavenly sovereign claims to have education without discrimination, so it is not a problem to become an outsider disciple under his sect. As for whether he can learn true skills, Li Che is not too concerned. After all, his purpose here is not to seek the Tao, but to seek a safe shelter. Once he gets through his weak period, the identity of Sanqing's disciple will be of no use to him. He is not lacking in the inheritance of a series of practices such as martial arts and divine powers, and is not inferior to the core inheritance of Sanqing at all. He is a descendant of the Luo Throat. Luo Throat, a super-old demon who almost destroyed the wasteland in the previous era. Even Hongjun Daozu was almost killed in the immortal sword formation. Yu reading www.yuukeangshu.net caused the gods to tremble and all spirits to perish. Its magical inheritance is vast and extensive, only stronger than Sanqing. Lingbao Tianzuan. The Jade Ding immortal whispered to himself, with a hint of strange color flashing in his eyes. Unlike Li Che, his goal is to become a disciple of Yuanshi Tianzuan. Perhaps it was the destined fate of a master and disciple that played a matchmaking role. From the beginning, the Jade Ding immortal locked onto the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord, and an inexplicable intuition told him that the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord was the most suitable one for him. May Taoists achieve their wishes. Haha. Let's encourage each other. The two of them looked at each other with a smile, observing the myriad of celestial beings who came to pay their respects. These diverse creatures would be their competitors. Of course, most of the heavenly pride of the 10,000 ethnic groups were not taken seriously by them. One was a congenital deity transformed by the teeth of the great god Pangu, and the other was a descendant of the demon Luo Throat, with extraordinary vision. However, there are still a few things worth paying attention to among the 10,000 tribes of heavenly pride. Just at a glance, the two of them had a feeling that, this person is not under me. The unparalleled pride of the dragon clan, formed from a earth dragon vein, is an indestructible yellow dragon with an indestructible physical body, red sperm born from the origin of yin and yang, a compassionate Taoist with a congenital white lotus on Mount Putua in the South China Sea, a wisp of fresh breeze transformed Zhao Gongming, and 3 white clouds stained the innate origin of the 3 heavenly fairies. The only bloodline descendant of the ancient Honghuang whale Ao tribe, who is essentially the black cloud immortal of the golden-beaded Ao fish. Among many Tianjiao, there are indeed many ruthless characters, some familiar to Li Che and others unknown to him. All of them are Tianjiao Xiong, with towering heads and horns, unparalleled talent, and extraordinary qualities. Chapter 2. Kunlun Summit Visit 3 Qingyi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tianjiao gathers everywhere, and demons are everywhere, all rushing toward Sanqing. The 4 words, Saint Disciple, alone are enough to drive the pride of all races crazy. Looking up at the towering Yujing mountain, everyone's hearts were in their throats, trembling, excited under the gaze of many heavenly pride. A snow-white crane rushed out of the clouds and landed steadily at the foot of Yujing mountain. The white crane fell to the ground and transformed into a beautiful and extraordinary white-clad boy. The white-clothed boy first scanned around and then loudly said, "As per the orders of the sage, you may enter the mountain to seek opportunities." After speaking, he didn't give many arrogant people the opportunity to ask questions. He took out a Sanqing talisman and injected his rich magic into it. Driven by the magical power of the white crane boy, the Sanqing divine talisman immediately emitted a dense light, and the protective formation surrounding Yujing mountain automatically withdrew. After completing all of this, the white crane boy transformed into a fairy crane form again, traversing through the misty clouds and disappeared in an instant. Perhaps he returned to serve the 3 pure heavenly sovereigns. Open the Yujing mountain guardianship formation and allow many Tianjiao to enter the mountain to search for opportunities. As for the fate, it is not the responsibility of the white crane boy. It is not up to the white crane boy to intervene in which heavenly pride Sanqing Tianzuan has set his sights on and who he intends to accept as his disciple. The holy heart is unpredictable, following the sage's side is the most important thing to be obedient. Ha ha ha. Fellow Taoists, I'm one step ahead. The yellow dragon, shaped by the earth's dragon veins, smiled heartily and rushed into Yujing mountain first, disappearing into the white clouds and mist. Except for the 3 clear heavenly sovereign who overlooks everything, no one knows what opportunities Honghuang will have in the mountains. In a few years, Honghuang will enjoy the shameful title of 3-No Taoist, but if he can be favored by the proud and famous Yuanshi heavenly emperor, how can he be an ordinary person? The vast and boundless world is filled with pride, and there are countless strong ones. Those who can leave their names possess unparalleled talents. How can we let you be more beautiful than before? Honghuang Daoyu, take your time and I will come. Red Sperm, Compassionate Taoist, Zhao Gongming, Sanshao Fairy, Wuyun Fairy and other celestial beings are all unwilling to fall behind others and rush into Yujing Mountain to find their own opportunities. The test set by the saint's apprenticeship is not as simple as it appears on the surface. Even if it cannot be seen by the saint, it will not disappoint and there will be some gains. Taoist friend, please. Li Che greeted the real person Yuding and walked into the Yujing Mountain, which was shrouded in clouds and mist. His goal was very clear from the beginning, and he didn't expect to join the Sanqing sect and become the legitimate heir of Sanqing, so he walked slowly and didn't worry at all. Walking leisurely in the misty mountains and forests, as if one had come to play in the mountains and waters, with a leisurely and contented demeanor that exuded a sense of moral reverence and inaction. After Li Che entered the Yujing Mountain, the Jade Ding Immortal followed without hesitation, dressed in white and wielding a sword, exuding a heroic spirit. As someone who comes to seek enlightenment from their master, there is no reason to stop here. Those who practice swordsmanship have a firm will and will never move forward. At the top of Yujing Mountain, on the edge of Qilan Cliff, under the yellow plum tree sitting cross-legged, Sanqing's breath seems elusive, ethereal and impermanent, blending in with heaven and earth, coexisting with all things. All things in heaven and earth can be called Sanqing, but Sanqing is not all things in heaven and earth. The three cleanliness and one mindset encompasses all things, creating endless possibilities. However, no matter how heaven and earth evolve, all things can come and go, and they cannot transform into the three cleanliness. Sanqing, just Sanqing. Yuqing Yuanshi Tianzuan represents the beginning of all things and the cause of all fruits. Taiqing Moral Heavenly Sovereign is the fundamental existence of all things. Shangqing Lingbao Heavenly Sovereign represents the end of all things and the fruit of all causes. They are the creators of all things in heaven and earth, the source of the birth and death of all things, their existence, giving rise to all things in heaven and earth, rather than achieving the three cleanliness. Therefore, their path of success is completely different from that of Empress Nyua, the guide Taoist, and the quasi-Taoist. The Sanqing achievement of the Holy Way is predetermined from birth, without the need to bear any cause and effect. Heaven and earth are born out of the three cleanliness, with a supreme position. Even Hongjun Daozu, who lies high in the 9 heavenly clouds, dare not claim to be more noble than the three cleanliness. It is natural for them to become saints, and the heavenly way cannot be changed. At this time, Sanqing was using the technique of watered mirror to observe the performance of many heavenly prides, hoping to select those who were destined to join the family and inherit the tradition. The sage, with his wise eyes overlooking the vast world, easily avoids being tainted by the mortal world, spreads the reputation of the sage, and fulfills the responsibility of spreading knowledge to all beings in the world, which falls on the disciples of his disciples. Master has something to do, I will take care of it. As a master, one should impart divine powers and teachings to their disciples. As a disciple, one should focus on serving the master and not disobey him. In the vast world, the relationship between master and disciple is extremely sacred, and there are rarely ugly phenomena of master and disciple turning against each other and stabbing each other. After all, in this era where people's hearts have not yet completely collapsed, except for some evil and evil spirits, most creatures have a relatively simple temperament. Sanqing watched the scene presented on the water mirror, with a calm expression on the face of the moral heavenly lord, a joyful expression on the eyes of the primordial heavenly lord, and a silent smile on the face of the Lingbao heavenly lord. The three have different reactions. The Tao Te Tian Zun has taken over the first generation of the human race, and Xuandu, who has a strong desire to seek the Tao, has no intention of taking in more disciples. This time of accepting disciples has little to do with him, it's just to help Yuanshi Tianzuan and Lingbao Tianzuan check the condition of their desired disciples. The primordial heavenly sovereign and the Lingbao heavenly sovereign are different. They have established the supreme religion and intend to spread their teachings and ideas to all living beings, benefiting all spirits. To expand the sect, it is inevitable to recruit more disciples. After all, the task of preaching must be entrusted to the disciples of the sect, and they cannot personally go to battle. They are the three pure heavenly sovereigns who stand at the pinnacle of the wilderness and have a great reputation. They are the authentic Pangus sect and not shameless and shameless quasi-Taoist. In short, they are respectable people, and they do not do anything that is not respectable, even if it is slightly tiring. They do not want to move. Opening a mountain to recruit disciples is not only to inherit the tradition, but also to recruit several disciples who are convenient to command. The sage of the heavenly way, if there is no disciple to command in his work, it would be very disrespectful. On the water mirror, the scene circulated, with the figures of Huang Long, Qi Sperm, Zihang Taoist, Zhao Gongming, San Shao Fairy, Wu Yun Immortal, and many other celestial beings flashing past one by one, attracting frequent nods from the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord and Lingbao Heavenly Lord. Among the many heavenly treasures, there are many creatures suitable for Yuqing and the inheritance of the Taoist tradition of the Upper Qing dynasty. Although most of them can only learn some Taoist techniques, they are also very rare. What is the vastness of what Sanqing has learned, including supernatural powers, miraculous techniques, alchemy, weapon refining, formations, talismans? Even if one can only learn a small part, it is still a great opportunity. This son is burdened by the Dragon clan, and although his luck is a bit poor, he is very suitable for inheriting the Dao style from his elder brother. Lingbao Tianzuan looked at Huang Long, who was fighting against a fierce beast in the water mirror picture, and glanced at Yuanshi Tianzuan, saying with regret. Yuanshi Tianzuan also showed a smile on his face and arrogantly revealed, if his luck is insufficient, I will make it up for him. I only hope he doesn't disappoint me. The implied meaning is that he has identified Huang Long as his disciple, left his name behind by Yushu, and passed on his teachings. Even if Huang Long's luck is lacking and his path of cultivation is destined to be bumpy, he does not care at all. Since he has decided to take Huang Long as his disciple, he is ready to pave the way for him. In terms of protecting the calf, Yuanshi Tianzun is serious. Chapter 3. The Peak of Kunlun. A Visit to Qing'er. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Huang Long, a great earth dragon, is nourished by the essence and blood of the dragon clan, thus becoming spiritualized. Its natural talent is the superior choice, comparable to that of innate gods. However, it is deeply intertwined with the dragon clan, leading to a lack of qi and a clear understanding of cause and effect between interactions. However, this is not a big problem. With Yuanshi Tianzuan leading the way, the path of Huang Long can be described as smooth sailing. In the previous era, the Dragon clan sparked a great war among the three clans, causing a catastrophic disaster and being abandoned by the heavenly Tao. Growing up was difficult, and under the influence of causality, the Yellow Dragon was also affected. However, the Dragon clan was nothing in front of the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord. All causes and effects are nothing more than floating clouds outside the mountain, as far as the Yuanshi Heavenly Sovereign is concerned. The Earth's dragon veins have formed, and the talent is still decent. The moral Heavenly Sovereign may seem murky, but in reality, his deep and endless eyes fall on the water mirror, a faint way. Although the words are plain, they secretly reveal appreciation. Being able to receive the four-character evaluation of the moral Heavenly Sovereign, fairly talented, fully demonstrates Huang Long's excellence. The Yellow Dragon is a spiritual transformation of the Earth Dragon vein, with an indestructible physical body, making it the most suitable way to inherit the Taoist practice of the primordial Heavenly Sovereign. Don't be fooled by the immortal demeanor and majesty of the Yuanshi Heavenly Sovereign, who exudes the utmost holiness among immortals. However, the true Yuanshi Heavenly Sovereign is a pure barbarian with unparalleled physical strength. Looking back at the end of the last era, the demon extermination war initiated by Hongjun Daozu, the Heavenly Sovereign of Yuanshi relied on his strong physical body to kill all the way from the eastern continent to the western continent, slaughtering thousands of miles with blood and killing countless evil demon heads. If Huang Long can inherit the Taoist practice of the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord, there is a certain chance of reproducing the wild style of the former Yuanshi Heavenly Lord. The water mirror image circulated repeatedly, and the jade tripod real person in white with a sword appeared in Sanqing's eyes, making both the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord and the Lingbao Heavenly Lord shine in front of him. The real person Yuding in the picture swings his sword against the wind and clouds over and over again, with a pure and flawless sword intent. It triggers the wind and clouds to surge, and the sword moves towards a trajectory that vaguely matches the movement of heaven and earth, which is indescribable. But the focus of Yuanshi Tianzuan and Lingbao Tianzuan is obviously not on this. Observing the wind and clouds to understand swordsmanship, Yuding has extraordinary comprehension, but it is not against the heavens. What they truly care about is the followers of the Jade Ding Immortal. The ancestor's one tooth has transformed him, so he is good at following his feet and possessing good qualifications. Both the Yuanshi Heavenly Sovereign and the Lingbao Heavenly Sovereign have a love for talent in their hearts, giving them a feeling of joy upon seeing the opportunity. Sanqing, known as the authentic Pangu, has an indescribable fondness for the existence of the Jade Ding Immortal, which is related to the Pangu deity. They all want to introduce it to the world and carefully train it. If one day, the Jade Ding Immortal will become famous in the wilderness and spread, their faces will also be full of face. The cultivation of talents related to the Pangu deity by the authentic Pangu sect, and placing them in the wasteland, is also a beautiful story. At this moment, not only the primordial Heavenly Sovereign and the Lingbao Heavenly Sovereign were moved by the Jade Ding Immortal, but even the moral Heavenly Sovereign, who had decided not to accept his disciples, couldn't help but feel ripples in their hearts. The vast and boundless wilderness makes it easy to find talented individuals and beautiful jade, but it is difficult to find extraordinary talents related to the great god Pangu. Congratulations, junior brother. You have been blessed with a wonderful disciple. The moral Heavenly Sovereign bent his fingers and calculated, realizing that the Yuanshi Heavenly Sovereign and the Jade Ding Immortal were destined to be Tianding masters and apprentices, so he gave up the fight. Heartbeat returns to one's heart, but fate is destined, and even the moral deity has no intention of going against the sky. The Tao is based on inaction, let nature take its course. In a sense, the moral Heavenly Sovereign who upholds the concept of inaction understands the heavenly way better than the primordial Heavenly Sovereign who claims to interpret the heavenly way. Sigh. Lingbao Tianzuan sighed helplessly and had no intention of competing with Yuanshi Tianzuan. Yuding Immortal has unparalleled talent, excels in swordsmanship, and has been transformed by one tooth of the great god Pangu, which perfectly meets his criteria for selecting disciples, but does not make him lose his rationality. The way of Xianxia Lingbao Tianzuan is to cut off a thread of vitality from heaven and earth. However, cutting is not plundering, and not everything needs to be obtained. Since there is a fate between Yuanshi Tianzuan and Yuding Zhenren Tianding, why should he interfere too much? The sage of the heavenly way possesses both immeasurable power and the virtue of education, and the beauty of becoming a person, which happens to be an essential virtue for a sage. Thank you two Taoist brothers for completing it. Yuanshi Tianzuan smiled brightly and looked at the real person Yuding depicted in the water mirror picture. The more he looked at it, the more he liked it. I always like to put the 4 words, authentic Pangu, on my lips when I have something to do, and what Yuanshi Tianzun likes most is the existence of the same Pangu lineage. Pangu is authentic, and there is no presence related to the Pangu deity under our hands. Shouting, Pangu is authentic, doesn't feel very imposing. The Wu tribe, nurtured by the bloodline of the great god Pangu, is not pure at all. Now that they have the Jade Ding Immortal, the title of Pangu Authentic is even more deserving. The rippling light on the water mirror reveals a picture of Li Che. It's just an ordinary human race, with seemingly good talent, but far inferior to innate gods like Yuding Zhenren. Skip directly. In the Yujing Mountain, many Tianjiao who are exploring opportunities do not know that their every move is actually under the gaze of Sanqing. Entering the mountain is not a test at all. There is no need for a saint to be tested when choosing his disciples. As long as fate increases or he satisfies the saint's appetite, he will be accepted into his family. The reason for letting them enter the mountain is simply to make it more convenient for Sanqing to observe various aspects of Tianjiao, such as his background, talent, intelligence, and temperament, especially the nature of the mind. A saint's disciple may not have the necessary qualifications, and their background may not be high. Anyway, some saints have the means to change their qualifications, transform themselves, and if they don't succeed, they can directly take medicine to practice. The Tao Te Tian Zun alchemy is widely recognized as the #1 skill in the world. A 9-turn golden pill is recommended to the Luo Golden Immortal on the spot. Zhaoshuyuan.com. But as a disciple of a sage, one's character is crucial. Even if one lacks the courage to be the first in the world and the great compassion to help the people, they cannot act recklessly or be malicious in nature. The water mirror image continues to flow, and many performances of Tianjiao in the mountains fall into Sanqing's sight. Sanqing has already understood which Tianjiao should enter the gate wall and which Tianjiao should be expelled. Let's call it a day. Dao De Tianzun whispered softly, brushing the dust in his hand twice in the air. Now, send Tianjiao, who is not mentally competent, out of the range of East Kunlun to avoid contaminating this holy land of the immortal path. Next, take the Tianjiao, who has a mentor-disciple relationship and good mental and cognitive abilities, who are favored by Yuanshi Tianzuan and Lingbao Tianzuan, and bring them to the top of Yujing Mountain. White Crane Tong'er, go and take all the disciples to the Yushu Palace to meet me. After the primordial Heavenly Lord instructed the White Crane boy, he immediately disappeared under the yellow plum tree with the moral Heavenly Lord and the Lingbao Heavenly Lord. On the yellow plum tree, immature fruits emit a faint fragrance, and the leaves sway in the wind, creating a unique charm. In the shadows of the tree, 3 supreme holy figures can be faintly seen. Upon receiving instructions from the Heavenly Emperor Yuanshi, the White Crane boy dared not neglect and quickly transformed into a snow-white fairy crane to attract many heavenly pride and go to the Jade Void Palace to pay homage to the 3 pure ones. On the other side, many Tianjiao who were suddenly transported to the top of Yujing Mountain were still shrouded in circles and had not yet reacted. 1 second ago, he was still searching in the mountains, and the next second he arrived at the peak of Yujing Mountain where Sanqing lived. Such a huge change has left many Tianjiao feeling at a loss. If it were elsewhere, they might still be able to remain calm and composed, but this is the core Yujing Mountain of East Kunlun, the dojo of Sanqing Heavenly Sovereign, and no one can cope with it with a normal mindset. Chapter 4 Visiting the Peak of Kunlun 3. Qingsan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Among the many heavenly treasures transported to the top of Yujing Mountain, Li Che is among them. His talent is not outstanding, but his character is not bad. He cannot become a disciple of Sanqing, but he is more than enough to be an outsider disciple. After a brief moment of shock, many Tianjiao quickly calmed down and surveyed the surrounding environment. They are all talented and unparalleled sons of heaven. Whether in terms of qualifications or temperament, they are 1 in a million, and the unfamiliar environment is not enough to cause chaos for them. There is not much communication between many heavenly prides, and even if there are countless questions, they are all held in their hearts, afraid to speak up casually, afraid of disturbing the sage. Just as a group of arrogant people were feeling uneasy, the White Crane boy arrived riding the wind and without much ado, getting straight to the point. The 3 masters have summoned you, please come with me. A group of heavenly pride suddenly shook their spirits, tidied up their appearance, straightened their posture, and followed the White Crane boy to visit Sanqing. They walked cautiously, extremely nervous. After being baptized by the clean holy spring and crossing the 7-colored rainbow bridge, we finally arrived at the location of the Sanqing temple. A group of heavenly pride looked around, only to see a majestic fairy wind, misty clouds, and 7-colored holy clouds shining all over the sky, creating a magnificent atmosphere. Surrounded by the clouds and holy clouds, 3 supreme temples stand tall, simple and solemn, towering and solemn, resembling the halls of various gods, integrating endless divine mysteries. Ba Jing Palace, Yusu Palace, Baiyu Palace. The three supreme temples are not only the residences of the three pure ones, but also three top-quality innate spiritual treasures, possessing the power comparable to those of quasi-saints. In the vast wasteland of heaven and earth, only Sanqing, apart from Hongjun Daozu, who preached the 3,000 sacred teachings of the Purple Sky Palace, can reside with top-grade innate spiritual treasures. The Heavenly Emperor Jun, who governs the 9 heavenly court and commands the vast expanse of demons, resides in the Sun Temple, which is nothing more than a medium-grade innate spiritual treasure. The boldness of the three cleans can be seen from this. The reputation of being a son of the heavenly way is not based on boasting. A group of Tianjiao were dazzled and confused, and their hearts became even more uneasy. The grand and magnificent holy land of the immortal family gave them considerable pressure. Following the white crane boy into the Jade Void Palace, all the heavenly pride dared not take a breath and was unprecedentedly cautious. Sage. Before meeting the sage, everyone was fascinated by it, but when they actually met the sage, they couldn't help but feel nervous, fearful, and even afraid. Yi Gong is a good dragon, but it's just like that. On the main hall of the Yushu Palace, Sanqing sits cross-legged on the Tai Chi Dao Tai, holding Tai to brush the dust, Sanbao Yu Rui, and Qingping's sword lying horizontally in front of his knee. His body is shrouded in Taoist energy, covering all kinds of mysteries. On both sides of the main hall, the disciples that Sanqing had taken in earlier were eagerly anticipating, all secretly speculating that the master would take in a few disciples. Xuandu, a disciple of Dao de Tianzun, Yuanshi Tianzun's disciple, Nan Xianwang, Guang Qingzi, Lingbao Heavenly Sovereign's disciple Duobao Daoist, Golden Spirit Holy Mother, Turtle Spirit Holy Mother, and Wudong Holy Mother. The 4 true biographies under the gate of Lingbao Tianzun Bio Palace have been collected, but the 12 golden immortals in the Yuanshi Tianzun Yushu Palace are not yet fully staffed, and currently only one is Guang Qingzi. As for the Antarctic immortal, although he is comparable to the master and disciple of the Yuanshi Heavenly Master, strictly speaking, he is not considered a direct disciple of the Yuanshi Heavenly Master. At the end of the last era, during the battle to eliminate demons, the Yuanshi Heavenly Sovereign saved the Antarctic immortal from the hands of the great General Yang Mo under the command of the Demon Ancestor in the South China Sea. Since then, the Antarctic immortal has been willing to follow the Yuanshi Heavenly Sovereign and serve him on both sides. Yuanshi Tianzun remembered the sincerity of the Antarctic immortal Wang and did not treat him as a follower. Instead, he accepted him as an attendant, known as a master disciple, and followed Yuanshi Tianzun's side, with an extremely special status. Guang Qingzi, the true disciple of the founding Heavenly Lord, also deserves to be called the senior brother of the Antarctic immortal. As the minds of Sanqing disciples such as Xuandu, Nanfang Xianwen, Guang Qingzi, and Duobao Daoren flipped, the white crane boy had already led a group of heavenly pride to the center of the hall. A group of arrogant people dared not look up directly at Sanqing and paid their respects with great respect. Greet the saints of Sanqing. May the great way of the saints be boundless, and their holy virtues be passed down forever. Li Che mingled in the crowd, performing the same actions as a group of Tianjiao. Although he didn't want to kneel before the sage, he was not a small shrimp who could be reckless. Only by being able to bend and stretch can one become a great husband. What Sanqing cares about is their attitude, but he doesn't value their etiquette. When the etiquette is up, the attitude will be fine. Yuanshi Tianzun casually raised his hand, and everyone automatically stood up, waiting for Sanqing to arrange. Arriving at the Jade Void Palace, the group of heavenly prides had already guessed that they had entered the eyes of the 3 cleanliness Dharma, but they could not figure out how to arrange it. Yuanshi Heavenly Sovereign acted swiftly and without much ado, and his gaze was fixed on the person he admired. Red Sperm. Huang Long. Ciheng. Jade Ding. Tai. Fear of retaining grandchildren. Pu Xian. Munjushri. Lingbao. Daoxing. Qingshu. Names were uttered from the mouth of the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord one by one, and every time a name was spoken, one person appeared, all of whom were destined to be a master disciple with the Yuanshi Heavenly Lord. Those who can be favored by the arrogant primordial heavenly sovereign are all talented individuals with deep connections, including those like the Jade Ding Immortal who are associated with the Pangu Great God. The gaze of Yuanshi Tianzuan finally locked on a person. Cloud Neutron. Cloud neutrons, embodying some of the pioneering virtues, are transformed by clouds and possess the great fortune of the Golden Immortal, which can be considered to be related to the great god Pangu. Due to the limitations of the founding merit, the path of the Cloud Child Road is difficult to reach its peak, but it also has its own destiny. Although it cannot be passed down by Yushu personally, there should be a place in the Yushu Palace. The Antarctic Immortal, Cloud Neutron, along with Guang Qingzi, Red Sperm, Jade Ding Immortal, and 12 other Golden Immortals, the Jade Void Palace Heavenly Group under the Yuanshi Heavenly Sovereign's seat is considered to be living together. The selection of disciples personally passed down by Yuanshi Tianzuan was completed, and then it was Lingbao Tianzuan's turn. Yuanshi Tianzuan is very strict and picky in accepting disciples, and Lingbao Tianzuan is no exception. Having education without discrimination is simply indiscriminate. My personal disciple, Lingbao Heavenly Sovereign, already has Duobao Daoist and Jinling Holy Mother. I am looking for the Turtle Spirit Holy Mother at the Book Garden www.zhaozuiyuan.com. I have no intention of collecting any more. So, the main goal of Lingbao Tianzuan is to recruit disciples from the inner sect and strengthen the foundation of Zhejiao. When selecting inner disciples, Lingbao Tianzuan also places great emphasis on qualifications and character. Glancing at a group, he confirmed the candidate for the apprenticeship. Black Cloud Immortal, Pilu Immortal, Golden Hoop Immortal, Xiu Shouxian, Lingya Xian, Jin Guangxian, Long-Eared Dingguang Immortal, Zhao Gongming, San Shao, Li Che. Under the gate of Bio Palace, the 4 great masters were personally passed down, accompanying the 7 immortals, Zhao Gongming, and the 3 heavenly fairies. All of them were present, but the only difference was the addition of Li Che. Li Che never expected that he would be favored by the Lingbao Heavenly Lord and have the potential to become a disciple of the Zhejiao sect. Li Che was slightly taken aback and quickly bowed to his master, saying, "Disciple Li Che, pay respects to your master." Refusal is impossible, intercepting inner disciples is absolutely beneficial and harmless to him. Inner disciple, neither up nor down, just right. As a descendant of the magic Luo Throat, he definitely wants to follow the path of magic. With the qualifications of other races, it is difficult for him to climb the peak without following the path of magic. If he becomes a disciple personally passed down by the Lingbao Heavenly Lord, he must never follow the demon path. He often follows the Lingbao Heavenly Lord and has a high chance of being discovered. Once exposed, the Lingbao Heavenly Lord is highly likely to personally clean up the door. As for the inner disciples, they are relatively much more free. If they study the magic in secret, the risk of being discovered will be much lower. Therefore, inner disciples are the most useful to Li Che. On the one hand, they can shelter under the Lingbao Heavenly Lord, and on the other hand, they can provide cover for him to study the Devil's Way. Chapter 5. Tianmo Tower. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yuanshi Tianzuan accepted the personally transmitted disciples, Lingbao Tian selected the inner disciples, and finally the outer disciples. Yuanshi Tianzuan selected a few people such as Fuyuan Xianwen to fill the entrance wall, and the rest were all accepted by Lingbao Tianzuan. Since you have entered our sect, you must abide by the rules and regulations, and not act recklessly, which will damage your own fortune. Yuanshi Tianzuan earnestly warned everyone. At this time, Sanqing had not yet parted ways, so this statement is not only a warning to the disciples of Yushu sect, but also a message to the disciples of Zhejiao. To cultivate oneself, one must prioritize one's inner nature. As a disciple of Sanqing, one must not be a traitor or a criminal. Disciples represent not only the inheritance of tradition, but also their three pure faces. We will always remember the teachings of the Heavenly One. Everyone responded in unison. Lingbao Heavenly Sovereign looked at his eldest disciple, Taoist Duobao, and advised, Duobao, take your fellow disciples down and make proper arrangements. The chubby and extraordinary Taoist nodded and said, please rest assured, Master. Immediately facing Li Che and others, he said, junior brothers, come with me. Li Che, Zhao Gongming, San Shaoxian, Wu Yunxian, and others dared not disobey and obediently followed Duobao Taoist. Red Sperm, Yellow Dragon, Jade Ding, and other Yushu disciples also went to settle down under the leadership of Guangqingzi. Kunlun is the second ancestral lineage of the Honghuang Mountains, second only to the Buzhou Mountains, spanning billions of miles and containing infinite opportunities for creation. Kunlun is further divided into East Kunlun and West Kunlun, with Yujing Mountain as the core and occupying East Kunlun. West Kunlun is the territory of West Queen Mother. East Kunlun includes most of the Kunlun Mountains, with countless unique peaks and famous mountains. These peaks are usually sparsely populated and are unowned. Nowadays, Sanqing has a wide collection of disciples, which can be used to accommodate many disciples and serve as a cave dojo for many disciples. Under the leadership of Taoist Duobao, Li Che chose the Lingshu Peak standing at a node in the Dragon Vein and opened a cave in the mountain. Although Lingshu Peak cannot compare to those blessed places that have nurtured amazing creations, it is also extraordinary. It has rich spiritual energy and abundant vitality, which is very good. Lingshu Peak, Tianling Cave. Li Che sat cross-legged on a lotus ball formed by the gathering of spiritual energy, holding a jade ju in his hand. His eyebrows furrowed at times and relaxed at times. The jade pendant in his hand was handed over to him by the Taoist Duobao, which records the basic chapter of the Xianxia Immortal Way, the Xianxia Great Cave Scripture, and is a compulsory method for beginners to intercept teachings. Of course, this is actually not important. Once you enter the wall of the Jijiao sect, you have to pass on a scroll of cultivation methods, which is naturally normal. He is just hesitating whether to practice the Xianxia Great Cave Scripture. When practicing together with immortals and demons, there will be more means available, but it may also lead to a lack of purity in the foundation and hinder the progress of the path. In the later stages of the path of cultivation, the more emphasis is placed on the word purity. One's own foundation is not pure enough, and even if one can achieve a moment of glory, it is extremely difficult to climb the peak of the path. Miscellaneous but not refined, broad but not pure, are the great taboos of practitioners. I don't know exactly what he thought, but his mind gradually sank into the sea of consciousness. In the depths of Li Che's sea of consciousness, a pitch-black pagoda stands tall, engraved with the image of 10,000 demons swallowing the sky, emitting an extremely evil and terrifying aura. Vaguely, one could hear a mysterious murmur, like the roar of the supreme demon god, or like a peerless divine reciting scriptures and preaching, explaining the profound meaning of the boundless demon path. Tower name, Heavenly Demon Tower. The former Demon Ancestral Throat Guardian Spirit Treasure was also one of Li Che's greatest secrets. Heart thoughts flooded into the Heavenly Demon Tower, and one could only see the demon energy inside, evolving into a terrifying atmosphere. The origin of the demonic energy contained in the Heavenly Demon Tower can be regarded as the source of the demonic way. A strand of the origin of the demonic energy can easily demonize an immortal master, leading to his downfall and downfall. The terror of its power was fully demonstrated in the previous era. Countless powerful individuals were demonized due to the origin of the demonic energy in their bodies, and were controlled by the Luo Throat, becoming pawns in the calamity of the Luo Throat. Leaving aside everything else for the time being, only the source of the demonic energy is mentioned. If he is accidentally exposed, Li Che will surely die without a burial ground, and even Sanqing cannot protect him. The chaos of the Luo Throat have caused countless races to disappear from the long river of history. However, many races have survived and still hold a grudge against the Luo Throat to this day. The 3 tribes of dragons, phoenixes, and Qilin. If the news of Li Che carrying the heavenly demon tower spreads, the 3 tribes will definitely not let Li Che go. They will risk offending Sanqing and must also kill Li Che. In the previous era, the 3 clans were so powerful and domineering. Many great supernatural beings encountered the 3 clans and had to take a detour, but now it has become a result of being rejected by the heavenly way and struggling to move forward. Everything must be blamed on the Luo Throat. The hatred of the 3 tribes towards the Luo Throat, even if they pour out the vast waters of the sea, is difficult to wash away. Mo Zoluo's throat was defeated by Hongjun Daozu, rumored to have fallen, but the hatred among the 3 tribes has never been reduced in the slightest. Even cultivators who accidentally obtain the inheritance of the demonic way will be relentlessly pursued by the 3 tribes, let alone Li Che, a legitimate descendant of the demon ancestor. The 3 tribes that have a deep hatred towards the demon ancestor Luo are still like this, let alone the countless tribes in the wilderness. In order to prevent the recurrence of evil troubles, Li Che, a descendant of the demon ancestor, will definitely not be able to stay. Li Che clearly understood this and knew that it was not easy to get along in the demonic realm of the wilderness. Therefore, since he accidentally obtained the heavenly demon tower, he has been deliberately hiding himself and never exposed the methods of the demonic realm. He has a hidden heart and a heavenly demon tower to suppress himself. As long as he does not expose himself, even if he is a saint, it is difficult to see through his details. The heavenly demon pagoda is a holy artifact of the demon realm, ranking among the top innate spiritual treasures. It has various wonderful functions, and suppressing one's own fortune is only the most basic function. At the beginning of the spiritual and mental barrier, the source of demonic energy enters the top layer of the heavenly demon tower, where many magical legacies left by the magic Luo Throat are preserved. 1 Mo Lien the demon-slaying god technique Yin Yang anti-chaotic magic technique invisible magic Yin Mo devours the soul Yang demon burning god dream demon sound killing technique dragon demon breaking the sky technique. Even the methods for refining the 4 swords of Zhu Xian are incomplete, lacking the key to refining the Zhu Xian formation diagram. However, even with the complete version of the refining method of the Zhu Xian sword formation, Li Che dare not try it. At least he doesn't have the courage or the capital to cause chaos yet. To refine the 4 swords of killing immortals, it is necessary to use the innate divine iron to create 4 killing swords, then enhance the quality of the killing swords with the innate origin, and finally collect the infinite evil energy, calamity energy, and inject them into the original source of killing swords, giving the 4 killing swords the power of slaughtering gods and killing immortals. The first 2 steps are easy to say, innate divine iron, innate origin. As long as you search carefully, there is still a certain chance of finding it. If you want to collect evil energy and calamity energy, you must start a great calamity, and the cost of starting a great calamity is far beyond Li Che's ability to bear. He is a little shrimp who has just stepped into the realm of immortality, going to start a great calamity to collect evil energy. The calamity energy is probably too tired of living. Even if one day Li Che's cultivation is great enough to stand tall and stand shoulder to shoulder with the sage, he will not be foolish enough to start a great calamity. Under the great cataclysm, all sentient beings perish. As the one who initiated the great cataclysm, one must not die easily. The demon Luo Throat is a warning from the past. Furthermore, this era is dominated by witches and demons, and the 2 races of witches and demons are the source of the great calamity. If he wants to collect evil energy and calamity energy, there is no need to take risks with himself. Just wait for the 2 races of witches and demons to fight fiercely. One mountain still cannot tolerate 2 tigers, let alone the 2 dominant races of the witches and demons. Even without any black hands pushing, the 2 races of the witches and demons will not always be peaceful, and a big war will come sooner or later. Chapter 6. Living in the Tao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Refining the 4 swords of Zhu Xian. That distance from Li Che is too far, even if there is a heart, it is powerless. Just think about it in your own dreams, it is impossible to take action. Moreover, there is already a set of immortal slaying sword formation in the world, and it is impossible for a second set to appear. Innate spiritual treasures are all unique and cannot be replicated even if they are artificially refined and restored through special means. Pressing down the distractions in his heart and stopping his wild thoughts, Li Che began to carefully observe the many magical legacies left behind by the Mo Luo Throat. Within the heavenly demon tower, there are nearly 99% of the demonic traditions preserved, including those created by the Demon Ancestral Throat and those contributed by the great demons under the Demon Ancestral Throat. Each demonic tradition is mysterious and reaches the realm above the great Luo. But Li Che never practiced any of these techniques for a simple reason, afraid of being tricked. It is unlikely to be different from Sanqing, who claims to be an authentic disciple of Pangu and still has some room for improvement. Demon masters are often known for their ferocity and ruthlessness, and even their own people are not spared when they are ruthless. It is hard to say that there will be no loopholes in their legacy. Therefore, Li Che dared not rashly cultivate the remaining magical inheritance in the heavenly demon tower, and he did not want to be inexplicably trapped and killed one day. He has been receiving the heavenly demon tower for a long time, but he only regards the inheritance of many demonic arts as an accumulation of knowledge, absorbs and comprehends the mysteries of it, and wants to gather the essence of various inheritance of demonic arts to create the most suitable martial arts for himself. He always remembers the saying that what suits him is the best. His self-created martial arts may not be as good as the many demonic legacies left by the Mo Luo Throat in the early stages, but there is absolutely no risk of being tricked. The reason why Li Che always worries about being tricked is not for no reason. Any top powerful person in the wilderness is a person with ideals and aspirations. Their ideals are incredibly lofty, but they are also extremely terrifying. Ancestral dragons define that all things can transform into dragons. Any creature carrying dragon blood can evolve in the direction of dragons, giving rise to countless dragon blood creatures. Zufeng defines 100 birds facing the phoenix, as any bird species can evolve towards the phoenix. The Demon Ancestor Luo Throat can transform all things into demons, the Taoist ancestor Honghuang can transform all things into immortals, and the Demon Emperor Jun proposed that all things can become demons. In the philosophy of the strongest, all things in heaven and earth can become what they define. They are not understanding or practicing the Tao, but creating it. Create a path that never existed before between heaven and earth. When all things in heaven and earth become what they define, the Tao they create will become the strongest and most steadfast rule in the world, and their cultivation will climb to an unimaginable level. On the path of the 10,000 spiritual transformations, only Daozu Hongjun succeeded, and throughout the entire wilderness, immortals were revered, while the rest were all secondary disciples. Zulong, Zufan, and Mozu had already failed in the previous era, becoming the stepping stone for Hongjun Daozu to become immortal. Although the Demon Emperor Jun was not yet defeated, he was already on the path of defeat. However, no matter what, Mo Luo Throat proposed the idea that all things can be transformed into demons and put in practical actions. If it weren't for the emergence of Hongjun Daozu, he had a great chance of success. Magic dragon, magic bird, warcraft, magic spirit, magic grass. The appearance of countless demonic creatures is enough to demonstrate that the path of the Mazura Throat has actually been partially successful. As long as the demonic creatures still exist, there is no claim that the Mazura Throat will fall. Such an extraordinary existence as the Mo Luo Throat can no longer be viewed by a normal person. Viewing the Mo Luo Throat from a normal person's perspective will only lead to a misunderstanding in one's own thinking. The Mazura Throat is more like a flow of information, a string of genetic codes that exist within the magical realm of the underworld, within every magical organism. The demonic way never dies, the demonic creatures never die, the Mojo Throat endures forever, and is the only one in all eternity. Zulong and Zufeng are the same. There were many great supernatural beings who offended the three tribes in the previous era. Why did many great supernatural beings only suppress them after the decline of the three tribes, rather than directly exterminate them? Do not want to be afflicted with causal karma? Or are you afraid of the hidden heritage of the three ethnic groups? Not at all. Many great supernatural beings are only wary of Zulong and Zufeng, who may cheat at any time. Surviving in the Tao is the most incredible ability of the strongest, such as the ancestral dragon, ancestral phoenix, and demon ancestor. Even the sages have no way to deal with them. You think someone is dead, but they may pretend to be dead in the next second, suddenly jumping out and continuing to write the legend of the past. When Li Che obtained the heavenly demon tower, he was an insignificant little shrimp. Now that he has been worshipped by the Lingbao heavenly lord, he is still just a small shrimp. Naturally, he does not know about the existence of the Luo Throat in the Tao. But he is not a fool, and can even be said to be a first-class intelligent person. He firmly believes that the demon ancestor has not died yet. Will a great demon who fights and almost kills Hongjun Daozu, almost annihilating an era, easily fall? Li Che expressed serious doubts about this. It was precisely because of his suspicion that Mo Zoluo's throat was not dead that Li Che dared not practice the many demonic legacies left in the heavenly demon tower, and his heart was filled with great fear. Luo Throat is a name destined to last forever, and it is also a name full of negative terms such as cruelty, brutality, slaughter, and destruction. Obtaining the inheritance of such an old demon is certainly commendable, as it has the initial capital to climb the summit, but one cannot be careless. Without any hesitation, he cultivates the demon path inheritance of the Luo Throat, fearing that he may die without knowing. No matter what others think and do when they receive the Luo Throat inheritance, Li Che dare not easily touch it. Li Che will not resist using the inheritance of the demon ancestor as an accumulation of knowledge, providing inspiration and resources for his own creations. He can boldly practice and find the book garden www.zhaosuiyuan.com, so forget it. Li Che lived a lifetime and didn't want to die again, let alone become a pawn of Mo Zoluo's throat. Life and freedom are always the most precious. The many demonic traditions preserved within the heavenly demon tower are the most mysterious in the creation of heavenly demon refining by the Luo. It emphasizes the refinement of the energy of all things, forming the origin of demonic energy, which can evolve and also demonize all things. Its power is extremely terrifying. But Li Che was not very interested in heavenly demon refining. Instead, he was extremely interested in the Wuxiang magic and Menhua sound killing technique created by the two major demon giants, Famo and Mengmo, under the Luo Throat. The heavenly demon refining cultivates the energy of all things, forming the origin of demonic energy, demonizing all things, and destroying everything. Wuxiang magic is constantly changing, and Wuxiang is intangible. The dream demon sound killing technique uses its melody to make people feel like a dream, killing people invisibly. The three supreme magical arts, combined with the inheritance of other demonic arts, have already formed a framework prototype for the martial arts that Li Che intends to create. It's just a rough framework, and the specific content still needs time to refine. Li Che is currently a disciple of the inner sect of Jiejiao and a disciple of the Shangqing Lingbao heavenly sovereign. He cannot openly follow the path of the devil, so his cultivation must be compatible with both immortals and demons, at least not to show that he has a foundation in the devil. It is not an easy task to cover up one's own demonic foundation and unleash the power of immortality without being too weak. Moreover, co-cultivation between immortals and demons is highly likely to lead to a lack of purity in one's own foundation, and the two extremes of immortals and demons may conflict with each other. If the balance and stability are not maintained, it is like to become demonic due to fire, and in severe cases, one can directly explode and die. Therefore, in terms of creating achievements, Li Che needs to be both cautious and not careless at all. One mistake will lead to irreparable disaster, and in an instant, he will be destroyed and die in an extremely tragic way. Chapter 7. Days of Studying Taoism in Kunlun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The many demonic traditions preserved within the heavenly demon tower are all written in innate divine texts, containing mysterious powers that are both mysterious and profound. They should not be watched for a long time, otherwise it is easy to hurt the heart and mind. Li Che watched for a while and felt like he had reached his limit, so he retreated. The heavenly demon tower rises and falls in his sea of consciousness, and it cannot fly away. If you want to observe many magical traditions at any time, there is no need to rush for a moment. Anxious, unable to eat hot tofu. Creating achievements requires more time to settle down. Being urgent can only confuse the mind and make the logic unclear. Li Che left the heavenly demon tower with his mind and thoughts, returned to his physical body, and looked at Yu Ju, who had recorded the Xianxia Great Cave Manual, in his hand. A bitter smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Sigh. An inexplicable sigh, although slightly bitter, had no sense of sadness. Taking the serious path of immortality, it is unknown whether or not he can reach the realm of the Great Luo with his qualifications, let alone above the Great Luo. The Devil's Way is the best way for him to climb the peak of the Tao, and he is also prepared to engage in the Devil's Way. But until he finds a way to resolve the conflict between immortals and demons, or balance the two extremes of immortals and demons, he will not rashly practice the Xianxia Great Cave Manual. At best, he will put in some useless firewood for a period of time. Once the foundation is established, it is difficult to change, especially in the inheritance of the Lingbao Heavenly Lord, which has a strong unique color. It is not easy to change. People like him are inherently proud and believe that they will never be weaker than others. How could they be willing to be constrained by the ways of others? Li Che, like his peers, did not shout, "My fate is determined by me, not by heaven," at any moment, but his pride was no less than that of anyone else. After practicing the Xianxia Great Cave scripture, Li Che was infused with the color of Lingbao Heavenly Sovereign, and the possibility of catching up with Lingbao Heavenly Sovereign in the future was almost zero. Li Che was unwilling to ruin his own path. It's not that one day in the future, he won't be able to break free from the shackles of the Lingbao Heavenly Lord's path, but in that case, the difficulty will skyrocket countless times. The earlier one establishes the path of their own body, the better. If one falls too deep, the harder it is to break free. Like the generations of Xuandu, Guangchengzi, and Duobao Daoren, after countless years, they may have become the top strong in the wilderness, but they have never jumped out of the realm of the three cleanliness way. The path of the sage encompasses all things in heaven and earth, and its vastness make it almost impossible to break free from it. No matter how it changes, it will inevitably carry traces of the three cleanliness. Li Che understood this and was unwilling to practice the Xianxia Great Cave Manual. Firstly, he was afraid of disrupting his foundation, and secondly, he was planning for the future. The cultivation techniques created by saints cover the path they follow. Even if they are proud of themselves, they have no absolute certainty and can break the shackles. Therefore, it's better not to practice than to practice. Anyway, he has many demonic traditions, and a volume of the Xianxia Great Cave Manual is optional for him. Half a month later, many disciples who were also under the Sanqing sect along with Li Che had already converted their own magic into pure Yuqing magic and Xianxia magic. Yuqing's magical power is known for its grandeur and profoundness, while Xianxing's magical power is characterized by its versatility, both of which are the highest level of power in the wilderness. Compared to ordinary powers such as demonic energy, dragon power, and divine power, they are much higher. Transforming the original magical power into the unique magical power of Sanqing, many disciples have experienced varying degrees of regression in their cultivation levels. For those with a deeper foundation, such as red sperm, yellow dragon, jade cauldron, etc., at most the amount of mana accumulated is reduced by half, while for those with a weaker foundation, their cultivation directly regresses several levels. Transforming mana and achieving a state of cultivation that does not rise but instead falls is not a bad thing, but rather a great opportunity to help beginners solidify their foundation. The path of cultivation can only go further with a solid foundation. With a solid foundation, one can achieve twice the result with half the effort and accomplish things that are difficult for ordinary people, such as fighting over a higher level. Through the baptism of the Sanqing immortal sect's authentic martial arts, the whole body is refined and the magic power is refined. The transformation of many disciples is comprehensive, and their foundation can be firmly strengthened. Within the same level, it is difficult to defeat many enemies with one enemy. This is the benefit of having a master's mentor, which is countless times stronger than casual cultivation at the starting point. Without the guidance and assistance of renowned teachers, and without the inheritance of superior martial arts, even high talent and talent cannot be transformed into equivalent cultivation strength. Sanqing opened the mountain to recruit disciples. Old immortals like Fuyu and Xianxia shamelessly came to participate, not only because they saw Sanqing as the top teacher in the wilderness and the hardest support. Among many new disciples, Li Che is definitely an outsider. Not only did he not convert his own mana, but he even did not practice the Xianxia Great Cave Manual, and his cultivation remained before he entered the beginner's level, neither advancing nor retreating. At the beginning, many disciples had not yet realized anything was wrong, but over time, some disciples looked at Li Che with a strange and intense radiance. Some people looked down on Li Che and believe that as a disciple of the Lingbao Heavenly Lord, Li Che's talent is so low, which is truly disappointing. There are also those who are simply envious, jealous, and resentful, thinking that Li Che is not worthy of being a disciple of the inner sect of Zhejiao. There are hundreds of disciples under the Lingbao Heavenly Lord's seat, and everyone is stronger than Li Che. Li Che saw many strange eyes, but he was not panicked or distressed at all, and his mentality was always calm and composed. I should go to the Bio Palace to listen to the teachings and preaching of the Lingbao Heavenly Lord, so I am never absent. He should participate in the mutual discussions among many disciples, and he will also attend to listen. He is like a disabled person who is deaf and blind, ignoring all the rumors and gossip in the dark as floating clouds. The sparrow knows the ambition of the swan. Those disciples laughed at his low talent and mocked him at not being worthy of being a disciple of Lingbao Tianzuan at the Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. However, he disdained to communicate more with those people. If one is determined to study in the direction of Sanqing, the future path of those disciples will be like that. Apart from their own disciples, there are very few who can challenge the level of Dalai Lama or above. Those who learn from me live, those who imitate me die. This sentence vividly showcases the cruelty of the immortal path. No two identical flowers can grow on one tree. Many disciples copy and imitate the path of Sanqing in their practice. Even if they can make rapid progress in a short period of time, they will definitely not reach the height of Sanqing. At most, they can only be considered as inferior products that fail to imitate Sanqing. Although Li Che's path was slower, it was even slower than the turtles crawling, making people speechless. But as long as his path is clear, it will be the heavenly avenue. Even if he cannot keep pace with Sanqing, the certificate is the fruit of the sage's path. You can also become a top-tier divine expert among the Demon Emperor Jun, the Eastern Emperor Tai, the Zenyuanzi, and the ancestors of the Styx River, and make saints give way 3 times. Treating all rumors and gossip as farting, without explanation or questioning, Li Che's indifferent attitude resulted in him having almost no friends during his teaching, making him an isolated object. When communicating with Zhao Gongming and Sanshao Fairy as disciples of the inner sect, they were also advised to be more ambitious and not to embarrass their master Lingbao Tianzuan. Regarding this, Li Che smiled but remained silent. Everyone chose different paths, and talking too much would be a waste of energy. Zhao Gongming, the 3 heavenly fairies, and others revere the Lingbao heavenly sovereign as if it were a supreme deity, only daring to look up without ambition. But he had the intention to catch up with the footsteps of the Lingbao heavenly sovereign, intending to compete with the sage. Therefore, it is best to have different ways, not to conspire with each other, and to maintain the relationship between teachers and brothers without collapsing. Chapter 8. What is the way? You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the vast Kunlun mountains, the only one who can speak to Li Che is the Jade Ding Immortal. The nodding acquaintance before going up the mountain became the beginning of their interaction, and they had a close relationship with each other. At this stage, the two religions of Zhan and Jia have not yet broken down, and they are both in the same mountain. No one accuses Li Che of any wrongdoing in their relationship with the Jade Ding Immortal. In short, apart from some rumors, Li Che spent an extremely comfortable time in Kunlun Mountain. With the occasional preaching and teachings of the sage Lingbao Tianzuan, and the inheritance of the Luo Throat as a reference, his future became increasingly clear, and the embryonic form of his martial arts gradually improved. In the Bio Palace, the immortals are sitting Lingbao Tianzuan, or should be referred to as the leader of the Tongtian sect. Establishing the tradition of intercepting teachings, having hundreds of disciples under one's command, nurturing outstanding individuals, and educating sentient beings, the term leader is more appropriate. The leader of the Tongtian sect sits on the Tai Chi Bagua Dao Tai, with 3 flowers blooming above his head and a hazy supernatural aura, interpreting the birth and death of creation. The 5 energies in his chest are in a state of vitality, like the rolling waves of white waves. The 5 energies are derived from the 5 elements, and the 5 elements transform all things. The 3 flowers gather at the top and the 5 qi move towards the yuan, which is a symbol of the great success of the immortal path. The leader of the Tongtian sect manifests the 3 flowers and 5 qi, and it is through his own Taoist fruit that he presents the mysteries of the Tao to his disciples. This is more useful than explaining the Tao through mouth. Presenting the mysteries of the immortal way of the Upper Qing dynasty to all disciples depends on one's own talent and understanding. 3 12-grade green lotus flowers operate with the momentum of the 3 talents of heaven, earth, and human beings, evolving into a chaotic and magnificent world. Among them, the sun, moon, stars, and all things in heaven and earth are visible, encompassing all phenomena, all things, and the wonders of all paths, all in one. The disciples were so engrossed in it that they didn't want to miss a single moment. Among the 3 flowers displayed by the leader of the Tongtian sect, some have seen the 4 phenomena of yin and yang, some have seen the true meaning of swordsmanship, and some have comprehended the beauty of formations. Everyone has different understandings, and the things they comprehend are also different, but what they can comprehend is what suits them the most. Talent determines achievement, and this statement is not absolute, but it cannot be said to be wrong. Like those 10 heavenly kings who have real cultivation talents, they have a unique understanding of formations. The time for the emergence of the 10 absolute formation is not far away. Li Che is also observing the Tao of the Heavenly Master, accumulating more understanding of the Tao, which can make his path of creation smoother. He just doesn't want to follow the path that the leader of the Tongtian sect has walked, which doesn't mean he looks down on the path of the Tongtian sect leader. It is normal to learn and observe the Tao of others, and then turn it into one's own, accumulating one's own heritage. This is how many great supernatural beings have come through the ages. The Xianxia palace of the Taoist ancestor preached the 3,000 sacred spirits, and the 3,000 sacred spirits comprehended the mysteries of the Tao described by the Taoist ancestor, and then integrated into their own Tao, giving rise to the many great supernatural powers that now dominate the vast world. Although Li Che's cultivation level was low, he took the first step on the right path, realizing the Tao, integrating the Tao, creating the Tao, and walking his own path. The path of the Heavenly Master, after all, belongs to the Heavenly Master. No matter how it changes, it cannot escape the coverage of the Heavenly Master's path. At most, it can only be considered as a branch extending from a tree. People like Li Che may appear isolated and indifferent on the surface, but in reality, they are proud and rugged, claiming to be no weaker than others and never willing to be his subordinate to humanity. Opening a fork in the road can be called a pioneer, but not a creator. Li Che only wants to be a creator, but has no intention of becoming a pioneer. Creators create their own path and walk their own path, pioneers should follow the path of others, cultivate their path, and develop a branch that does not deviate from the main path, there is a huge difference between the two. Upon waking up from his enlightenment, Li Che couldn't help but sigh to himself as he looked at the heavenly master, who was enveloped in the 3 flowers and 5 qi and had a divine and transcendent demeanor. Cutting off a thread of vitality from heaven and earth, there is no distinction between education and humanity. It truly lives up to its name. The only one who can achieve this is the master of the Tongtian sect, who fully displays his own achievements and allows his disciples to observe and comprehend. Believers must keep their hands on it, and many great supernatural beings have this habit. After all, there is an unspoken rule among great supernatural beings that the law cannot be passed down lightly. It's really difficult to find a second one, as grand as the leader of the Tongtian sect. There is a reason why many intercepting disciples are so devoted to the leader of the Tongtian sect and worship him as the highest deity. With such a teacher, how regretful I am. If it weren't for his own ulterior motives, Li Che would treat the leader of the Tongtian sect like many disciples who cut off their teachings. But even though Li Che had ulterior motives and impure motives for joining the intercepted church, he still admired the leader of the Tongtian sect immensely and never had any thoughts of blasphemy. Perhaps sensing Li Che's gaze, the leader of the Tongtian sect restrained his 3 flowers and 5 qi, and looked at Li Che with a calm and watery gaze. Do you have any questions, Tongxian, my disciple? Tongxian Zi is a Taoist name given by the leader of the Tongtian sect to Li Cheki, which means to use the Tao method of Tongxian. For Li Che, a disciple who was shrouded in chaos both in front and behind, even with the eyes of a sage, he still held high expectations. Unfortunately, the expectations of the heavenly master will eventually turn into flowing water, and when Li Che is exposed many years later, he will be extremely disappointed. Li Che, clear Che, however, Li Che's heart is black and he cannot achieve the enlightenment of Tao Fa. He only knows how to wield magical power, causing harm to one era after another. This is a long, long time from now, let's not mention it for now. Upon hearing the voice of the leader of the Tongtian sect, Li Che quickly gathered up his thoughts and stood up to salute, saying, I have been in the mountain for some years, but I still don't know what the way is. I dare to ask my master, what is the way? His path of creation has reached a bottleneck, and he is about to build the framework prototype, but the core of the framework prototype has stumped him. The law has no core, just like a person without a heart cannot live, the law without a heart, is not the way. Regarding the confusion he faced, the leader of the Tongtian sect may give him an answer. The sage's vision and insight are far beyond his heavenly realm as a small shrimp. You have never truly touched the threshold of the Tao, why do you falsely claim that the Tao is something? The leader of the Tongtian sect was initially taken aback for a moment, then fell silent and laughed, unable to laugh or cry. The heavenly immortal realm, located at www.zhaoshuyuan.com, is already capable of manipulating the laws of heaven and earth for personal use, but the laws and the Tao are completely different. There is no Tao in the world, and the so-called Tao refers more to the laws and regulations that operate between heaven and earth. The path of practitioners is based on their own will and integrates many laws of heaven and earth, which can also be called the path of integration. The path of practitioners is formed by the combination and fusion of various laws. Li Che is just a mere celestial being. As soon as he touched on the application of laws, he began to shamelessly inquire about what the way was. In the eyes of Master Tongtian, it was somewhat ambitious. At the very least, one must reach the realm of Tai and comprehend enough laws in order to achieve this step of integration, and the laws they comprehend must be profound enough. The disciples who had awakened from their state of enlightenment were also amazed, followed by a strong sense of ridicule. Li Che has been a beginner for many years and his cultivation has been stagnant, which has already made many disciples dislike him. Now, Li Che's ambitious question has made them feel that Li Che is not worthy of being an inner disciple. However, with the leader of the Tongtian sect in front, many disciples dare not express their emotions freely, in order to avoid causing displeasure from the leader. The head of the Tongtian sect teaches disciples, who can show their own achievements without reservation, allowing their disciples to observe and understand. Their behavior style is grand and majestic, but at the same time, they also dislike criticism among disciples. Fighting within the same sect is the biggest taboo in intercepting teachings, and those who violate it will have serious consequences. I still remember when I first started, there was a disciple from the Ba Snake tribe who killed a disciple who had transformed from grass and wood. He was directly deposed by the leader of the Tongtian sect and entered the demon refining tower, where he was devoured by countless vengeful souls and died. Fellow disciples are not allowed to harm each other. This is an iron law. Whoever violates it will die. Even if they are the 4 true disciples, they dare not act recklessly. Chapter 9. Unable to be remembered from ancient times, will leave a lasting impression. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The tears and laughter of the leader of the Tongtian sect, as well as the mockery and disdain of the disciples who intercepted the teachings, all fell into Li Chei's eyes. However, he didn't care at all and looked directly at the leader of the Tongtian sect, only seeking an answer. What is Tao? Why is Tao? There are various different opinions about this answer, and each argument is different. Some people believe that the laws that exist between heaven and earth are the Tao, and the end of the Tao is to grasp the authority of the laws. With the body, the Tao is in the presence of people, and the Tao is strong and the people are strong. Some people also believe that all things in heaven and earth, as well as all sentient beings in the mortal world, are not just Tao. Seeing all things and sentient beings is seeing Tao. There are different opinions, but no one can accurately determine which one is right and which one is wrong. The Tao has no form and has never had an absolute fixed form. Therefore, despite being aware of various interpretations of the Tao, Li Chei couldn't help but feel lost and confused, unable to find what kind of Tao should be the core of his own creation. Staring deeply at Li Chei and the serious disciple on his face, the leader of the Tongtian sect put away those unpleasant words and said in a deep voice. Since you started, you have never made any progress in your cultivation and practice. Instead, you have put your mind above the Tao, which is a great taboo in practice. When practicing Taoism, the most important thing is to avoid being too ambitious. If your path is deep enough, your doubts will be easily resolved. Li Chei said solemnly, I know, but I believe that only by being slower can we see further. Cultivating the way is fundamental. First, seeing the way clearly, and then walking on the right path can achieve twice the result with half the effort. If you don't want to soar to the sky, why not take a slow step and walk slowly? I just want to understand the way and the heart. When these words came to fruition, all the disciples heard them in confusion, but the head of the Tongtian sect was pleasantly surprised. Amazing! Master Tongtian secretly exclaimed to himself. Before reaching the Luo, there will be enlightenment. If Li Chei's path is paved, he will be guaranteed to be a quasi-saint in the future. With hard work, he will not be able to step into the sequence of great divine powers. The thought of having another disciple under his own sect with the talent of a great supernatural being made the leader of the Tongtian sect feel delighted. To reach the realm of sages, many things are indifferent. If you want them, you can create them out of thin air, which loses all the fun. Cultivating an enviable disciple has naturally become one of the few ways for saints to have fun, and it has also brought face when it comes to spreading. Of course, if Li Chei cannot overcome the most important hurdle and truly understand his own path, then Li Chei is the epic version of herding Zhongyong. Not to mention those who possess great divine abilities, even the great Luo Golden Immortal, Li Chei may not be able to touch them. Stepping through that hurdle, the road ahead is open and clear. Those with great supernatural powers are no longer dreams. If they cannot break through, Li Chei will eventually disappear from the crowd. Pressing down his heart with joy, the leader of the Tongtian sect said with a righteous tone, the ways of the world are as many as the stars, and everyone's way is different. As a teacher, there is a way to be a teacher, and you have your own way. As for your own way, you have to ask yourself, as I cannot give you the correct answer. The leader of the Tongtian sect has high expectations for Li Che with a hopeful expression on his face. The first great deity to intercept teachings is highly likely to be Li Che. Ask me. Li Che pointed to himself, not quite understanding the meaning of Master Tongtian. The leader of the Tongtian sect smiled and said, ask your heart. The Tao is not external, but in the heart. When you understand your heart, you will understand the Tao you are pursuing. The Tao is impermanent and also has no form, existing in your heart. Let's go back and think carefully first. Li Chihua realized something and stood up to respectfully bow to the leader of the Tongtian sect, slowly exiting the Bio Palace. With the guidance of Master Tongtian, he had already understood why the core of his desire to create the Dharma Gate was lacking, and what was missing was just taking the crucial step completely. Master, Brother Tongxian, this is. The conversation between the leader of the Tongtian sect and Li Che was not understood by all the disciples, and the Taoist Duobao couldn't help but want to ask the truth. The disciples stared at the leader of the Tongtian sect in unison, all extremely curious. Ha ha ha. Tongxian Tuer Dao will also succeed. The leader of the Tongtian sect laughed loudly and encouraged the Taoist Duobao, Duobao, you must work hard, otherwise, it won't be long before the Tongxian disciple will catch up with you. Although Li Che, the son of Tongxian, is a disciple of the Jiejiao sect, he is widely recognized as a top-notch useless person. After many years of entering the sect, his cultivation has not made any progress. How could such a person possibly catch up with his own footsteps? Taoist Duobao does not believe it. But it was not easy to brush the face of the leader of the Tongtian sect and confidently said, I also look forward to the entry of junior brother Tongxian. Li Che boasted that he was not inferior to others, and so was the Duobao Taoist. His arrogance were even higher than Li Che's. He taught his senior brother, the first true transmission of the Bio Palace, and was not a person who gained a false reputation. Tianjiao is always proud, like the personal transmission of saints like Taoist Duobao. He is also a proper, dragon-proud Tian-style character, never thinking that he is inferior to others. The word proud is deeply ingrained in the bone marrow. It's just different from dragon-proud heaven. Duobao Taoist has an extremely good nature and won't see anything. They all want to plunder it into their own hands. To put it bluntly, the true, dragon-proud heaven will definitely not survive for 10.5 days in the wasteland. In the wasteland of slaughter, no one will get used to dragon-proud heaven. In the wilderness, one can have the luck of dragon-proud heaven, but one must not have the inherent flaws of dragon-proud heaven, otherwise one will not know how to die. Cough, it seems like I'm pulling too far. The leader of the Tongtian sect is most knowledgeable about Duobao Taoist and knows that his eldest disciple did not take Li Che to heart. He did not say much about this and spoke everything with facts. Li Che, who has undergone transformation, will surely surprise Taoist Duobao. Returning to his own cave, Li Che casually placed a protective restriction and entered a deep level of seclusion. This time in seclusion, I don't know my own way, I can't create a method, and I will never leave. Above the gathering of spiritual energy, Li Che's eyes closed tightly, searching for the book garden www.zhaozuiyuan.com. His mind was highly focused, questioning himself and wanting to clarify his own mind. In his mind, memory images kept flashing through, overlapping past and present lives, evoking the deepest longing in Li Che's heart. In his past life, he was aimless and mediocre, until he died suddenly. In this life, be careful, step by step, plan and calculate. What have I gained from being a person of 2 generations? Li Che muttered to himself in a low voice, his eyes suddenly opened, and 2 brilliant rays of light shot out from them. At this moment, he realized. A great man was born between heaven and earth, and he should be grand and magnificent. If he cannot be remembered for eternity, he will be infamous for eternity. Combining past and present life, he came to realize a truth. Being honest and doing things according to one's duties has no future. To achieve extraordinary success, one must have extraordinary courage and take extraordinary paths. No wonder I used to think about going through the devil's path, but there was a big demon lurking in my heart. Li Che seemed to smile rather than smile, feeling both relaxed and extremely eccentric. Perhaps it was because he had been suppressed in his past life for too long. In this life, his demonic nature was hidden in his heart, and he didn't want to be mediocre, just wanted to make a big fuss. The vast and boundless world is filled with immortals, demons, dragons, phoenixes, qilin, witches, demons. The competition for supremacy and power among all races is so brilliant and brilliant. If he could leave behind his immortal legend, even if it is a lingering legacy, it doesn't matter. At the moment when he saw his heart clearly, Li Qingxian couldn't wait to go to the wasteland and make a big fuss. But now is clearly not the time. To forge iron, one must be hard on their own. In the absence of sufficient strength, rushing to the wilderness and causing chaos is not about writing legends, but simply seeking death when tired of living.